Welcome to CP Diaries, a regular series where we delve into topics that matter to adults in the cerebral palsy community. So I'm here with Liz and we're talking about self-care today. Thanks for joining us, Liz.
No worries, Natalie. Thank you.
Were you ever taught much about how you would need to look after your body as you got older and in general? Was that something you had conversations about with your family?
I was only ever told by one of the surgeons, as you get older, your muscles shorten because they're always active, so they get very tight and very stiff.
And like I've had NDIS for about 2 years now, and I've used it to start reconnecting with physiotherapy, which is something that I stopped doing right after high school.
I love the physio, and they were all like, "You're strange." Every client, whatever way you want to look at it, doesn't like, most of them don't like the physio, but I enjoy learning about why my body is the way that it is, and I know that even though something might hurt it has an overall good beneficial outcome. I have to sit, I don't walk, I have to sit, and it doesn't necessarily always want to sit, and I'm finding that sometimes it's frustrating, sometimes you can deal with it, sometimes it's really infuriating and restricting because you have to say to people, well, no, I can't do that because I simply can't sit today. They told me it would like laying better, and it does, but does that mean you live on your bed?
Absolutely. Like I think keeping your sanity and staying sort of mentally positive, and how do you do that as well? Is that something that you have to work on a lot, or is that something that is that a skill you've acquired as you've gotten older as well?
It is, and I think it's a skill that comes with maturity. To be honest, it hasn't come without it. It's been added to by getting some mental health support as well, but I like to refer to it as the highlight reel of things that make me laugh, and I don't always explain what's going on in my head to my staff, but that's because one day I did to the wrong person, and they said, "That's not funny." And I said, "Well, it's not your highlight reel, is it? It's not what makes you laugh, it's what makes me keep going and get through whatever it is I need to get through."
One of the things I experience is sometimes my whole day will be surrounded or will revolve around disability. So I'll go to work and talk about CP. Then after work, I clock off and go to physio for my CP, and it's just sometimes too much CP. And I have to sort of give myself mental breaks of things that have nothing to do with it. Or
I can completely relate to that, but it's one of the things I find really difficult is it's hard to give yourself a break from it because, like, my work isn't entirely CP, but it is working with people with your lived experience and their housing journey. But then you log off work and you're using different skills at work, but you got your life admin to do, you got your rosters to manage, you got your staff to manage. So for me, I love my music, and I had my iPod, and it died in that the very extended lockdown. And one of my goals was trying to work out how to get all my music on my phone, which we succeeded in doing because I wanted my music. I didn't create it to then not be able to listen to it. And so my music is a coping strategy. The TV is a coping strategy. Sometimes, like yesterday, I had to go out somewhere, but I really needed to come home and do some work. And it's not hard work, but I just couldn't do it. I was like, I just need to lay here and watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just have to zone out, switch back in, and switch gears, and you can go again. At the moment, it's hard in the sense that finding the balance, and I'm not very good at saying no to people. So if I really want to do something, I want to make it happen, but it's finding the balance between looking after yourself and contributing to all the other projects and things that you want to do.
But I think it's about having that break and then coming back to things, or working in like patches where you do a little bit now and then a little bit later and then a little bit more later on until it's done.
Yeah, and I
Um,
think that's become very evident in COVID as well, because you can't go out, regardless of what reason, you're often looking at a computer screen. So
yeah,
at some point you have to say, well, no, I'm not going to look at it anymore. The other thing I've really noticed, and I think it's very evident with me at the moment, because I'd like to go for a walk, but if I'm up in my chair or armchair for work, then I want to get out and go on my bed, and then I'm not. I almost need to write in my diary, I'm going for a walk today, and that's what I'm doing,
yeah.
because otherwise I find you're not leaving your house unless you have to, and that's not necessarily always a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I found that at the peak of lockdown, like the really big ones, even when I didn't have like anything per se to do, I would have a support worker over just to create some variety of who I was seeing in my life.
Yeah.
Just to go out for a few hours, even if it was to run errands at like Woolies or something really unexciting. It was just a way to keep my sanity, or go for a walk at the park again for like my mental and physical health. So I think that was really important too. And I think, like you said, if putting like a reminder in there helps, I think that is really good.
And like you, the people that I see mainly seeing my support staff. One of the things I had to do at the very start of COVID, well, it didn't happen right at the start, but it happened during it, is I needed to tighten up the team, because even me, who doesn't normally worry about the floaters coming in and out, I didn't want so many unknown people. So one day I had a worker say to me, oh, you need to go to the hospital. And I said, no, I will have a nebulizer, but I don't need to go to the hospital. It makes something like COVID very, very hard, because people think you're sicker than what you are.
It's about, I know my body, I know what it needs.
I found a lot of people project their emotions onto you, and then they panic. So you've got to get over that to then lead them and go, well, no, this is not what you need to worry about. I need you to do this. When you've got to be that clear and concise in that directive, you want it to come across the right way without it appearing that you're being too domineering or.
Yeah, like assertive, not aggressive, and finding that right tone of just making sure your needs get met, but you're careful with the relationships around you. What advice would you offer to someone maybe who has similar presentation as you or side effects as you to do when they're faced with a challenge like that?
Honestly, I have had to get better at speaking up. And even if people don't like what you've got to say, I think you've got to say it. Otherwise, you internalize it and it becomes a bigger issue.
Do you make sure that you have certain people in your social circle to help keep you sort of in a good emotional state as well? Is that an aspect of your care that you look at?
Yeah, look, I have one very, very good friend that I can discuss anything with. I am close to my family, but there's certain topics that create friction with them. So they do give me, seeing them though does help me see the easier picture in life. I like those relationships, but I treasure the relationship with my friend, because she said, if you can't talk about certain things with your family, pick up the phone, speak to me. And I love, my family in the sense that, you can just go there and mum she knows I like a roast, so she'll make a roast. Or, I've got my very young nephew, and, life is easy when you're young kid, and he reminds you why things are so simple, and he loves to play with you, and I love to play with him. So, doing all those things that ground you, and that you enjoy sharing with people, even your little stories with you, the very support stuff that you can share them with, that's all good because it makes it all more easier to deal with if you're sharing the load a bit.
I think we've covered quite a few topics there in terms of self-care. I'm wondering if there's anything you felt needed to be highlighted or mentioned or
Don't be afraid to say, no, I can't do that today.
yeah, I like
I would
that.
like to do it, but can we find another time to do it?
I think what came to surprise me is how flexible and understanding and empathetic people actually can be.
Exactly. You've got to trust people a little bit with that.
Well, I think this has been really good. I think we can wrap it here if you're happy to. And I
Yeah,
can.
thanks, Natalie. Great to talk to you.
So, if you want to share your experience or share your story, please send us a direct message. We'd love to hear your story.